After we made that video, I'm tempted to like delete that other video because you like prompted me with something that got us talking about. Wait a minute, I don't know if we should even put that up. People like we don't know who's seeing this. I mean, when we put them on the channel, because what I was saying there is I don't understand this movement you're having because everybody's in it. And what I said is that when the sort of satiric role I played in our game, like when I we live in an infantilized culture where people don't know a lot about a lot of things. What I had said in the video is, geez, it was the way we were originally when I saw people were signaling to each other in different ways, but it was silent. And when we go different places and people like signaling, we over here like I thought it had to. I thought when we put the game we played on Market Street. Okay, this is to know. I mean, when we go to other places, I originally thought like people are signaling like we played in the game or like we know what's up down here. Or like we saw the videos or something. But they would have to have understood what we were doing in San Francisco. What that whole game was on Market Street. Right. As it became apparent that every single person or appears in every part of California is in the same, they're all on the same page, like in some sense. And I can't for the life of me figure it out. I thought it was a limited amount of people everywhere we went that knew what happened, our game. They knew about our game, but you have to see. That's why I don't understand how everybody can be in it. They are. I mean, they are. Everybody like plays a game, or like they're in some kind of movement you're having. But we don't know how they're all on the same page. One of those things I thought it was kind of in a cartoony way, but a real way. Kind of what went on. Like I said prior to. Well, no, I mean, I guess it was going on then. I don't. Francis Parker came back from, first of all. There was an underground movement of it was just the underground where all the intellectuals and scientists who'd been part of the regimes that were defeated in World War II. The intellectuals we defeat the dictator, the genocidal dictators, and they were all over the place. And we watched the fog of war. They said we'd lost World War II. Our leadership would have been prosecuted as war criminals. But it is the most genocidal war in human history. But the intellectuals and scientists and such that were parts of the different regimes, like that's not in the same sense. We talk about Carl Schmitt, like there's a juridical theorist or a German legal theorist. He's still read. Yeah, he was the legal theorist at the time of the Reich. But I mean, he's a legal theorist in the same sense. So yeah, they all went underground, and when Francis Parker showed up here before he took a cyanide capsule in the jail in San Francisco. That they'd given him, he came back from Europe. Right, I mean, at that time it was called the Underground Fascist International. But that's not something that's like, it's certainly in New Orleans with people organizing Occupy. Like when I worked with them, like for a time, or they have a little lending library there. They have Dreamer of the Day. This gets a whole great book about Francis Parker and the Underground Fascist International. But a lot of our country, the educated people on liberal education, they're infantilized like people who can't hear about anything and like have fairy tale ideas about the Second World War. And don't know about like the intellectuals that went underground. For good, I mean, But prior to Francis Parker committing suicide in the jail at San Francisco, right, that was what I thought was going on after we played our game on Market Street. And I left San Francisco, I thought that when we go to these different places, that people who knew what was up down there, right, who were like political, kind of like the guys that came up to me after the game, were like, yo, like, we're with Occupy, like, yo, like, you alright, man, like, like, you landed in our thing, and there were girls on the treasure hunt. These are all people who came down here with computers, like, we're doing a, political thing, people from Occupy there, your city college people that design something that you have to be. That's why we don't understand what's going on in these other places. That was an alternate reality class war game for activist and educational purposes that involved things like sort of Marxist demonstrations in the lobby, and like you can't come in the building, and when the Olympics were on. I mean, the whole event took place down there. And then everyone, I guess, went their separate ways or something. It was designed by, like, the kind of people at City College who I said are basically doing what the neo-Trotskyites, who later became the 80-year-old neoconservatives, were doing, like, at City College in the 30s. But they, like, designed a whole kind of, like, you end up on the street, and then it's a game, and we're passing each other, and people are leaving out, little gifts for people. But yeah, I thought, like, yeah, different parts of California we go to, people signal like we know about the game or we're in the game, but that would be politically awake people. It wasn't until, like, I don't know when that I started realizing every single person in California is sort of participating in something all together. But I mean, everyone can't be? They must have. Did they know what that was in San Francisco? No. How would they know? Or do they just think it's something else? No, but it's not, though. It's as though every single person in every place you go in California is aware of, like, what was going on in San Francisco. I mean, they're all politically awake, like, in that way. I don't know what to make of it. I thought it was, like, in its own, like, sort of postmodern, like, cartoony way, like, right what went on. I said when, for instance, the time that Francis Parker was in San Francisco, like, it was like a kind of that was the time you didn't. People was silent, and people didn't know who they could trust. Are you with the underground European movements, or are you in a Marxist movement? And there was, like, all kinds of, like, sort of spy versus spy stuff. The history of it's really interesting. A lot of people don't know that part of things leading up to Francis Parker committing suicide in the San Francisco jail. But I mean, I don't know. I can't put that up. I mean, I'm trying to think of what we shouldn't really post that video. It doesn't really make sense to people if they haven't read all that stuff, right? You're switching me channels. You got me nervous. You sent me over to the thing. Oh, that looks alright. People don't really know that history, but once again, Francis Parker he was a Notre Dame lawyer. He was a brilliant Notre Dame lawyer. He, among other things, sat on the Nuremberg tribunals and prosecuted Nazi war criminals. And he was also a member of the Underground Fascist International, made up of intellectuals and scientists who'd been in Germany or in the different regimes, but they're not the dictators. Nothing like that. But I mean, right, somebody you explain there's a fascist international, but the American, like, the infantilized, like, liberal educated person, like, doesn't understand, like, what do you mean? Like, there was a fascist international? Like, wait, but the person in question, like, sat on the Nuremberg tribunals, prosecuted Nazi war criminals? I didn't hear about that. Wait, they didn't hear about anything. They're getting liberal education. They don't know about anything. But right, I don't know if we should post that video if, like, people don't know the history of all that. But I thought we were doing that. Like, people were sort of, like, signaling they knew about the game we played, or they're in it, or they're making videos. No, everyone appears to be as though they're all, like, in your movement, but what is their level of awareness? What we did on Market Street when everyone landed there, they have an enormous amount of awareness of political things to even know what was going on. You can't come in the building, and the City College people, and videos, and they had to have, like, you had to be like people from Occupy. I don't really know. I thought that, so when we go to these, at first we went to these different towns, and people, like, do silent, like, signals. They indicate their, color or this or that. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, everyone's signaling who, like, knows what's up or what had happened in San Francisco. No, it became apparent the entire California, as far as I can tell, is, like, I don't know, in a political movement. But, like, what is there? Did everyone where? I don't know. I don't know what's on the other end of any of it. That's what doesn't make sense. But I thought it was that we were, like, doing a silent thing, and it's just, like, people who are aware of what we did down, what happened there, and videos and political things. No, it's like the whole entire California is in a movement. I don't know. I would be the only person here in, like, these towns doing that, because everyone else, like, people like, yo, get your money up, you in the game. They're all back in San Francisco. That's the game players. We played a game, but we did. It was a lot of fun. But it was for activist and educational purposes why you play such a game. The whole of California appears to be in a movement. No one tells you what's going on, but what do they think is going on? I don't know. I'd be the only person, me and there's like one other person, but no, most people are in the city of San Francisco doing that. or they're living on the street and get your money up, kitty, in the game. That was the fun part. I don't know how it's possible. Everyone's on computers and they all are in the same thing. That I don't know how it's possible. I thought it was a limited amount of people in each place. No, it's like the entire California is in a political movement. But that's not really possible. But they don't tell you.